never gonna make it. You're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible. It's not probable. You're irresponsible. Too many obstacles. You gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow. You can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the f*** are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move. I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna f***ing do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions. They blocking your vision. But no, you can't listen. That shit is all fiction. Cause you hold the power as long as you're driven. There's no way that you make it. And maybe you can fake it, but you're never gonna make it. Oh, will you fight?
You're on mute, mate.
Shall I start again?
Let's do it.
Great start as always. Hello and welcome to Game Day from the UK, another Miami Heat UK live pre-game streaming show. Here tonight to preview the game against the Oklahoma City Thunder. We've got our cast as usual tonight, but we've also got a special guest. First of all, let's get round to Ollie Rahimi. How are you, sir?
Yeah, I'm doing well, mate. I'm doing well. Looking forward to it.
Absolutely, yes. And Sam Aquara, long time no speak, man. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I heard we had a special guest coming, so I had to work my schedule around it.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, great to have you back, sir. And let's introduce then a massive fan, supporter of the account, big guy of what we do, supports everything, brilliant Heat fan. Great to have him on the show. It's Grant Brown. How are you, Grant?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm in the presence of greatness and probably the oldest one here by about 20 years.
I wouldn't go that far. Brilliant to have you
pleased
on,
to be here, mate. Pleased to be here.
No, it's great to have you on. As I said, always been a big supporter of his account from day one. So great to finally talk to you at last. First of all, let's just get a little bit of background, Grant. How long have you supported the Heat?
It's been a while, shall we say? Yeah. I suppose you could probably say, I mean, I started supporting the NBA in general, watching it back in 93, back in the days of yeah.
Wow.
So yeah, been a while. But I suppose on and off when Shaq first went to the Heat, I started watching them. I've been following him. I was a glory hunter. I just followed him around. Then he went to Lakers for a bit, and I decided I wasn't actually a glory hunter. So, I sort of stuck around. Yeah, I've been watching them for a very, very long time now. So, yeah, crikey. Yeah, I was thinking about it the other day, how long I've been watching them. And yeah.
Well, so you have seen all the good times, some of the bad times. So, just in perspective, before we get on to tonight, this current Heat team, where does it rank in all these years? It must be up there with one of the most exciting.
Got to be without a doubt. I mean, everybody's always going to talk about the big three and how great they were and everything. And yeah, they were absolutely 100%. But that's where you're saying the big three. What we've got here is a solid team. From your starters to your bench players, they spread the points around. For me, this is a great joy to watch this team. Really is.
Yeah, great stuff. Yeah, so as I said, a lot of experience with obviously going through the years there with your Heat teams. So great to have you on, and be good to get your insights on what we think of tonight's game. Let's, before we do that, come on to what we always do, which is looking back on the last game. A laboured win, Ollie, against the cadeless Detroit Pistons. I have never sat there, honestly, during a game rubbing my head like this so much during that game. It was frustrating. I thought we was going to blow it, I must admit. That would have been by far the worst defeat of the season. Offensively, we didn't look good at all. There was a lot wrong with that game, but most importantly, we got it over the line. Main takeaways from that game?
Yeah, like you said, it was sluggish. I think that was the main takeaway that I had from it. It was just, it looked complacent, it looked sluggish, and it looked like we were playing down to our opponent's level, which is a criticism that we've all labelled against the Heat for a long time now. I know that recently the offense has stagnated quite a lot. We started the season, and when we got everyone back fit, our offense was firing, but recently it seems to have just dropped off slightly. Our defense is still as good as it always has been, so that's been a saving grace for us, really. But yeah, like you said, it was a frustrating night. But it's a sign of a good team when you can win a game when you're not playing well. But it is just frustrating that the Heat seem incapable of blowing out the teams that they should absolutely, wipe the floor with. They are one of, if not the worst team in the league. They were missing their only player that makes them any sort of threat, and we still allowed them to stay in it until pretty late on. So yeah, a frustrating one. But again, with how the Heat do against poorer teams, I wasn't that surprised. But I'm just glad they got the win in the end.
Yeah, you make a good point there about the offense, and I totally sing along to that tune, because the guy who always does the metrics of the quadrant of wow and the quadrant of woe, it's the first time it came out today, the first time in the last 15 where we've been out of that quadrant of wow, as he calls it, and that's mainly because of the offensive problems, Sam. When you're missing Jimmy Butler, which we was, for a large part of that game because of a twisted ankle, Kyle Lowry again over the last few games, really since he's come back, hasn't hit anything like what maybe we would expect him to do so on the offensive end. And it was relying on guys like Tyler Herro and Max Strus, who's not really supposed to even really be in the content. Well, not in the contention, but shouldn't really be in the rotation, supplying these sorts of sort of game changing moments. Yet he did. Is it a concern that we need players like Jimmy, if he's back tonight, or obviously coming down the stretch, and Kyle, who has been exceptional? We've sung his praises all season, but do we need these guys to get out of this sluggish, which is what Ollie said, sort of mantra at the moment, and try and get back fundamentally to what they do best, and give us this offensive punch if we're going to get through to this 1 seed?
I mean, it would be nice if they do. I mean, they are like our highly paid stars. Jimmy's a max player. Kyle Lowry's on a huge contract, so it would be nice if they come out of that funk. But people tend to forget a couple months ago the Heat was on a stride without these guys. So Bam was out for injury, Jimmy was out for injury. Kyle Lowry was in and out, and that was when we pretty much took off and elevated to that first seed. So like, as much as it is a deep team with players who are ready to be plugged in to deliver when we need them to, but I would like for them to come back. But at the same time, I've got a bit of a sort of reassurance that we've got enough to pull it through to the first seed.
Yeah, I think that's the main point here, Grant, is this team, we've said all season about how deep it is, and we're lucky to have that, because let's be honest, we've got through various games this season, picked up wins because of guys stepping up and giving us something. Tyler Herro's been exceptional all year, we know this, but Max Strus had it. Obviously, in the last game, we've had Gabe Vincent do it, we've had Caleb Martin do it. That's great, but fundamentally, as we hit playoffs, these guys are going to be locked into a 7 or 8 man rotation. We need this to click pretty soon, don't we, with players like Jimmy, for example, getting back into stride?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the problem we've got to, in my view, recently is that, yes, at the start of the season we had these people out and we managed to sort of step up, but we've kind of started to rest on our laurels that these people are back, and that's all good, and Kyle Lowry's there and Jimmy Butler's there, and we don't have to worry about that. And then we're suddenly having to figure out, when these people are missing, how we can bring ourselves back into games. And we are in the business end of the season, well into the business end of the season now, and I think it's more getting the coach to really try and bring that feel that there is everybody, we've got everybody, we can do it. It'd be nice to bring them back and get a steady flow in, but at the moment, I think we can still do it, no problems whatsoever.
Yeah, just one player that I mentioned there as well, just sticking with you for a minute, Grant. We've all had our say this season, and very recently on Max Strus going through a mini slump. And since we've said that, he's been exceptional, and he was the reason why we won that game, really. A 16-0 run on his own to start that fourth quarter. He doesn't want to sort of give him he doesn't want to give in his minutes any easily, does he? He's been, it's like he's found a new gear. And a lot of people will sort of assume that he's out of the rotation. If he carries on like this, he's very much going to be part of the rotation as we hit the playoffs, isn't he?
Yeah, I think that's the tough choice for Coach Spo is all these weapons that he's got, making sure that all of them get the right play time. Because let's be fair, people are going to start getting a bit twitchy towards the end of the season, thinking, well, I'm just not getting enough time. Yeah, Max Strus is the stereotypical guy from the Hollywood movies that goes, put me in, coach, I can do it. And then you sort of go, yeah, and then he gets in there and he just does it, and you're sort of sitting there going, wow. I mean, I was watching the game the other night and I actually had to do my day job for a little while. I got that bored, and so then I started paying attention in the fourth quarter. It was amazing. So yeah, when he gets those minutes, he's definitely one of those players that just grabs it and goes for it. So he has gone up and down. Definitely when we were first talking about him, or when you guys were first talking about him, it was sort of like, yeah, and flash in the pan. He looks really good, but he's really starting to cement himself as a guy that can come off the bench and show you what he can do now.
Yeah, and it's the epiphany of what this team do. It is literally staying ready, and that's exactly what he did. He was probably expecting now to just come in and take various garbage minutes now as the team finally got through to full health. Again, an injury crops up. What does he do? He comes in and puts in not only a good performance, but a game-winning performance. So hats off to Matt. Brilliant stuff. So on to tonight's game, Ollie, against the Thunder. 20-49, another team that are very much tanking, have been all season. 7-game losing slide. Could be missing Shai Gilgeous-Alexander tonight. He's on a game-time decision with an ankle injury. You've already said it. He played down a lot this season to the opposition. Do you think that last game out against Detroit will be fresh in their mind to make sure that this doesn't happen again? Do we expect a fast start this time round?
I hope so. But my only gripe with this Heat team, as I mentioned, they play down to the level of their opponent. But I think because they won, there won't be a reaction, if that makes sense. So
yeah,
if they'd have lost against Detroit, there would probably be an inevitable reaction against OKC. But because they won that game, I'm speculating here. This is complete hearsay, but maybe there's an air of, well, we won, like we did it. So what's the problem, kind of thing. But I would like that to be flipped. Like you said, I'd like us to come out and just blow them away because we have the ability to do that. We're number one in the East, one of the best teams in the league. They are on the other end of the spectrum. As you said, they're rebuilding, they're tanking. They've got about 1,000 draft picks in the next decade. So they're looking to rebuild their team over the next 4, 5, 6, 7 years around Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, who is a wonderful player and will be a star in the league. But yeah, as you said, I think we need to start quickly and we need to just assert our dominance because I think that's a problem that we have against lesser teams. Certainly not one that we face against the better teams because we seem to, as I said, we step up. We play against the best teams and we show our best brand of basketball. It's just about translating that into games where you think that we'd be more comfortable in.
Definitely, yeah. It's I think it's important tonight because even though we did get the win, it's something that's been pointed at him. It's a criticism that's been pointed at him more than a few times this season. So hopefully that will stick in their mind. Jimmy Butler, Caleb Martin, and PJ Tucker, all game time decisions questionable tonight. Victor Oladipo, we have just heard, is ruled out. Back spasms, I believe, was the diagnosis there. Sam, more importantly, Jimmy twisted his ankle yet again, another ankle injury. Nothing bad, precautionary. Probably if that was a playoff game against Detroit, he would have carried on. But of course, the right thing to do is to take him out. So the idea is that he was probably going to be back tonight. But would you risk it? Would you not? We've got another 2 nights off after tonight. A big game against Philadelphia, a huge game against Philadelphia coming up on Monday. Do you sit Jimmy Butler, especially if Caleb Martin's back, who can maybe replicate some of what Jimmy does? And also that gives PJ Tucker a chance to rest as well. Basically, what I'm saying is, do you rest Jimmy and PJ if Caleb's back?
Absolutely. I rest Jimmy, I rest PJ. If Kalari needs a break, I'll rest him as well. If Bam needs a break, I'll rest him as well. We've got a team full of dogs and they're hungry right now. So if Yurtseven wants the minutes, I'm giving him minutes. If Max Strus wants minutes, I'm giving him minutes. And Caleb Martin can get all the minutes he wants right now. This is one of the games where it's an OKC game, and I reckon we can squeeze a win with not our starting five, if that makes any sense. It's a hungry team, and like the players have proven themselves time after time after time. So I'm glad with just putting it in the hands of maybe Bam and a few other second unit players and just taking us to take us to the finish line, or what's it called?
Yeah. I think that you're right. I'm almost scared if Jimmy plays tonight. I'm actually expecting him to, because this is the man of what he does. He wants to play every minute. I would rather strap him up, keep him ready for the Sixers game, especially if Caleb is back. As I said, I think that he'll be ready to go. Grant, just talking about Yurtseven quickly there, as Sam mentioned, there's been shouts for him to be playing a bit more. Dedman's been out of form and also struggling a little bit as well, I think, with injury. I think there's a foot injury that he's been struggling a little bit with. This seems like the perfect game. Yurt's been brilliant in flashes, especially when we needed him this year. We haven't seen a lot of him recently because players have come back. But this is maybe the sort of game where you think, okay, he could go in and maybe not only play, but give us some production and give us another option there. Do you think that we could see some of Yurt tonight?
I I definitely think we need to. I think, Sam was right, where, let's just get a load of people in and that are on the bench and give them all a chance and see what they can do. If we lose this, we'll all just go and just quit. But, somebody like Yurtseven, this is a perfect opportunity to slot him in, get him to show what he can do. Make sure the other people that are starting in front of him are feeling a little bit uneasy that he can pull off some flashy stuff, score some points, So yeah, I'm absolutely 100% give him a chance. As Sam says, perfect game for it.
I think you're right, and I've always been one to sort of push back and bulk at the idea of Yurtseven being over players like Dedman. I've never been an advocate for that. I think Yurtseven has been exceptional with what he's done, and he's exceeded expectations. But I've always been Bam, then Dedman. That's been nothing that's worked very well this season. But I think tonight, with form and giving Dedman maybe a rest, would not be the worst thing in the world tonight against a team that's not playing for anything. I'd really like to see some big minutes from Yurt tonight. I think that makes sense. Ollie, coming into now the business end of the season, as we know that we are, we nearly blew it against Detroit, got it over the line. I was massively relieved because I thought, we've got some tough games coming up as we get down the stretch, especially on the road. These two games this week are just as important because they're guaranteed wins. I know that's silly to say, but they are. They are wins that you have to win. You can't slip up on these. If we do, then suddenly that 2.5 game, lead over the Bucks and the Sixers suddenly becomes very nervy, and we've now got to go, and there'll be pressure to go and get the job done against those tough teams on the road. So tonight, what do we do here? Is to find balance of resting players but making sure we get the team done. Do you think that Spo will just go with his strongest unit?
I think, I think that's in Spo's nature, really. But I must say, I'm with Sam and Grant. I think we've got enough to win the game, and I would like to see Caleb in for Jimmy, give him a rest, get Yurt in for Dedman, because as we've said, he's not been on form recently. To be fair to Dedman, he when he came in last season, he'd had probably, I think the last time he played any more than 30 games in a season was the 2018-19 season. So he's probably worn out. Like, he's probably just a bit burnt out. So I think he could do with that rest. But as you said, pressure is the main word there. And I think losing tonight then puts pressure on games that are harder. And that's what these games are there for. If you're going to be the number one seed, if you're going to be the best team in the conference, you have to beat the teams that you're supposed to beat. Because when you come up against the tougher opponents, if we have an off night against the Sixers, they will beat us. Like, if we had an off night against the Pistons, we managed to win anyway. But we have an off night against the Sixers, and they will beat us. And winning those games that you're supposed to win gives you that leeway. It gives you a bit of leverage, and it just takes the pressure off, as you said, and getting to that one seed is ultimately the goal. But as you mentioned, I think Spo, in his nature, is just to go with his strongest unit, to be honest. And it's definitely in Jimmy's nature. So if Jimmy has an inkling that he's going to be able to or fit enough to play, then he will, I'm sure, do so, even though I think, and I'm sure a lot of Heat Nation will probably agree, that it's probably best for him not to.
Yeah, I think, as you said, it's in Spo's nature to just ride with the best team that he's got available. You never really see him, there's no sort of like football-like rotation where you drop your best players to the bench for a weaker game. You just seem to, get it done. The only thing you like to feel like tonight is just to get that quick start, get a big lead, and then hopefully these guys won't play more than 30 minutes. Before we get onto some predictions, I just want to go around. No real massive analysis, just maybe a word or even just a sentence of, if we was to say between now and the last dozen games, if there's one thing, Sam, I'll ask this all to you, but if there's one thing that you want the Heat to improve this year, if we think that we're lagging on so far as we get towards playoff time, what's the one thing that Heat have got to address?
That's a very good question. That's a very good question. That's a very good question.
Is it too easy to just say offense, sort the offense?
I want to say this is more for Spo than the rest of the team, because when you think about last playoffs, Spo got killed badly by Budenholzer in the playoffs. So I'd say game management, just like in-game adjustments.
Okay, that's good. Yeah, in-game adjustments. I can agree with that. Grant, same question to you. Between now and the end of the season, if you could wave your magic wand, what's the one thing you want the Heat to address?
Play consistently better in the third quarter.
Like it, yes, yeah. And that wasn't a problem earlier on in the season, was it? It was the third quarter was no longer a thing, but it has crept back, isn't it? The last few games, I mean, bloody 11 points, I think we scored against the Pistons. It was they went on a 19 or a 21-0 run, something like that. It just can't happen.
So there's a quote that I really like, which is the ego is the enemy. And I do feel sometimes we get into that third quarter and we're like, yeah, we've rocked and rolled the first half, no problems. Oh, no, yeah, everyone's doing really well. What do we do? Panic, and everybody's just too resting on their laurels. So, yeah, consistent third quarters would be better for me.
So we've had Grant with good analysis and now strong sort of mythical quotations. I like it. It's been great stuff. Great stuff. Ollie, what about you, man?
Yeah, I'm going the same way as Grant. Consistency for me. Just play at the level that we're capable of consistently from now until the end and into the playoffs. Because if we do, we'll win. Simple.
Like it. Okay, guys. So the OKC Thunder tonight, as I said, 20-49. Heat finish up this 7-game homestand, their biggest of the season. If we win tonight, we go 5-2, which I think a lot of people would have accepted, would have taken that before the road stand started. We then go over to 1 game away against the Sixers, massive game, before coming back home for 3 more, and somebody's at those 3 games. So that would be quite fun. Let's get some predictions. Sam, let's start with you, my man. What do you think tonight?
I'd say a comfortable win, not a big blowout. I'd say Heat by 8. Hello?
Heat by
8.
8. Heat by 8. Okay. Yep. Like it. Grant, what do you think?
I was going with Heat by 12, probably.
Double digits. Like it. Good stuff. And finish this off, Ollie.
I am going right in the middle. I think Heat by 10.
Okay. 8, 10, and 12. I will go with. I think it will be a not a bounce back because we won, but a bounce back certainly in performance. I think we're going to come out firing tonight. Do you know, I think it's going to be really good because I think he has to be Duncan Robinson. Tonight's going to be a good game for him, I think. So I'm going to say Heat by 13, slightly, just 1 up above everyone else, just because I want to. Okay, guys, great show tonight. Brilliant to have Grant on. Thank you so much for joining us. Pleasure to have you on, my man. Hopefully we'll do it again sometime. 12 o'clock midnight tip tonight. Follow us at the Miami Heat UK. Please subscribe to the channel. Miami Heat UK TV. We'll be back on Monday night for the huge one against the Sixers at Wells Fargo Center in Philadelphia. Until then, let's get the job done tonight. Take it easy, guys.